Right, good evening, mate. Welcome to my online coaching service. I hope you are good. This is going to be an introduction video in regards to how I want you to set things up, and I'm going to explain your training, your diet, and all that kind of good stuff. And hopefully, you're looking forward to it. Hopefully, you're ready to get started. And I do apologise, there's a slight delay, but like I said, you got to work with me, buddy. Here, if you send things late, then that's your fault. You know what I mean? But anyway, fuck all that. We can forget about that now. We're ready to start. So this is your sheets, which I'm going to send over to you. So what you can do is you can download the Excel app on your phone, and you can literally just have this on your phone. It makes it a lot easier. But what I also want you to do is buy yourself some logbooks. You get them from anywhere, Wilkinson's, whatever, and write your sessions in within your logbook, as well as on your weekly basis. I want you to fill your sessions in as well. But I will just go through that all throughout this video. You have no worries. I have 15 minutes to explain this, but if I need to do a part two, I will do a part two for sure. So this is the dashboard. Again, this is just a little bit of information here for you. This is where it works out your weekly averages in regards to how much your body weight's increasing, the average weight the week was, your average calories, etc., etc. So that's something quite interesting. And this is also a calorie calculator. If you ever give a fuck that you want to work out, let's say 50 grams of protein, 100 grams of carbs, and let's say 20 grams of fat, it'll kind of work out the calories for you for that specific meal or whatever. It's not the most accurate thing, but it kind of gives you a good guideline. Now, this is the most important bit I want you to fill in for me. So every day, this is what you'll do. I'll give you an actual example. So let's say that in the morning you was 133 pounds, so it's 133.2. The protein you had that day was 170. The carbs you had that day was 350, and the fats you had was 50, and the calories was 2,750, for example. On that particular day, you train upper rotation A, cardio. I wouldn't worry about that. I haven't got you on any cardio. I wouldn't worry about that bit. And then we look into the amount of hours sleep. So, for example, you might have got 7.5 hours. Your energy levels were 4. Your stress levels were 1. And then your cardio, obviously, you didn't do that. And any additional notes. So, for example, 8. Let's say we ate meals slightly later than usual, something like that. That is kind of how I want your dashboard to be filled in each day. Now, I don't expect you to weigh in every single day. There's some times we're not going to actually weigh ourselves. You know what I mean? Like, we physically can't weigh ourselves. But I want you to fill this in as much as possible. And when it comes to your week 2 update, I want this to be filled in. So when you send me back your sheets with your video feedback in regards to how your week was, which I'll go through closer to the time, I want to see this filled in, and I want to see it all up to date, etc. So, and if you couldn't weigh in, let me know if you couldn't weigh in and why you couldn't weigh in. So hopefully that kind of explains how I want you to fill in your dashboard. And eventually it should look something like this, mate, over time. So this is another client which I have. And he's pretty much filled in pretty much everything. So that's kind of an example in regards to how I want you to fill yours in. If you have any questions regarding this, then let me know. It's kind of straightforward, you know what I mean? It's not the most difficult thing to ever fucking do. So your meal plan. Now, your meal plan, I am pushing you fucking hard with food, because that's something we need to do. So on the left-hand side is your training day diet plan. On the right-hand side is your rest day training plan. So the macros are slightly different for both, but again, I'll explain why and stuff like that. So meal number 1 on a training day is 100 grams of those protein Weetabix, those chocolate ones which you use already. Again, I wanted to kind of keep it fairly kind of similar to what you're eating now. I didn't want to make drastic changes for you, because, like I said, if something agrees with you, then I'm going to keep it, you know what I mean? And on a rest day, I've got you having 4 whole medium eggs. So you can scramble that up, add a little bit of milk if you really want to, that kind of stuff. So I need to add the macros in there. I didn't do that for some reason. So yeah, 2 different breakfasts. Again, 1 for your training day, 1 for your rest day. Meal number 2. So I've got you 100 grams of chicken breast, 150 grams of broccoli, and 3 caramel rice cakes. Now, I believe this is going to be your break at about 9:30, 10 o'clock. This is what you're going to be eating at half 9, 10 o'clock. Very straightforward, easy meal, and quite simply, I mean, I know you're not going to have a crazy amount of like time on your break, so this is kind of something that you can just get down you quite easy compared to like a really big meal, for example. And then same again, I've got that on your meal number 2 on a rest day as well, because it's just fairly straightforward and it's quite easy to get down. I don't expect you to have like a crazy long break at half 9 in the morning. So let me know in regards to this. Again, a little bit of carbs, good amount of protein and minimal fat, an easy meal just to get down you. And the caramel rice cakes, if you've never had them, mate, they are fucking peng. Oh, they're so good. You'll love them. Meal number 3, again, I've got you on 150 grams of beef mince, which is the 10% one from Asda, and 200 grams of basmati rice, which is the Uncle Ben's microwave. So what you might have to do is you might have to weigh out 200 grams of the packet Uncle Ben's rice and put it in the Tupperware and then reheat it, because I believe you have a microwave at work, at your apprenticeship, I believe you said. So let me know in regards to that. And I've also allowed you 100 grams of veg of your choice. So again, I wouldn't maybe trim green beans and maybe whatever you want. I wouldn't worry too much about it. This is slightly different on a rest day. So what I've got is I've got a reduction in basmati rice, so pretty much half a packet, 125 grams, I believe, is half a packet Uncle Ben's rice. Again, with 150 grams of beef mince, which is again cooked weight. And then 100 grams of veg of your choice. That is meal number 3, which is going to be your lunch, I believe, whilst you're at work. And then your pre-workout. So you get home about 4-ish, I believe, from work. Your pre-workout on a train day, 80 gram of oats. I want you to use 350 milliliters of water. And then I want you to obviously cook that, add your whey and stir it in. And then we have protes. And then we have 100 grams of banana on top of that. So cut a banana up on top. There you go, your pre-workout meal. 80 grams of oats, 30 grams of whey, and 100 grams of banana. Very straightforward. Again, little bit of fats because we want to blunt the absorption of carbohydrates. I totally didn't say that right then. Of carbohydrates. So you don't get too hungry whilst you're training, because there's nothing worse than getting fucking hungry when training. And then this is a little bit different. Again, meal number 4, or when you get home from work, etc. We have 130 grams of chicken breast. 1 McCain's baked potato, they're like the frozen microwave ones you can get in most supermarkets, and 150 grams of trimmed green beans. So carbohydrates on a rest day is slightly lower, and fats are a little bit higher, and proteins a little bit higher, so keep that in mind. The reason behind that is because we're not really, again, I want to use the rest day, especially in a surplus, as a recovery day. And I want a good relationship with glycogen. I'll explain that in future references for you. But as I have 15 minutes, I can't explain too much, but I will explain it to you. Don't worry. Meal number 5, which is your post-workout, 100 grams of Rice Krispies. I want you to add 30 grams of whey mix into the cereal. So again, use just some. In all honesty, I would like you to use almond unsweetened milk, but if you can't, just use regular milk. And again, mix it in with your Rice Krispies, and then again, 3 caramel Snacker Jack rice cakes, which are so good. They're so good. They're unreal. That'll be your post-workout. Again, really high carbohydrates because we're trying to replenish glycogen as quick as possible, and minimal fat because we know that fat slows the uptake of carbohydrates. So keep that in mind. And then pre-bed, so roughly about 8:30, I want you to have 3 whole medium eggs scrambled again. So I'm really going to be pushing food on training day for you. And then on a rest day, the meal number 5 again is going to be the 30 grams of oats, 350 ml water, 30 grams of whey, mix it in, and then 30 grams of peanut butter as the Whole Earth brand you can get. Why I choose the Whole Earth brand is because it's very low in carbohydrates. And again, you can mix that in all together, or you can have it separate. If you want the peanut butter separate, you can do that. If you want the whey separate, you can do that. Again, you can do that with the pre-workout. So again, that gives you around about 2,650 calories to 2,700, 180 to 185. Again, I don't mind if you're 5 grams under or over. It's not too much of an issue. 350 gram of carbs and 50 grams of fat. Again, on a rest day, a little bit higher protein, slightly lower carbohydrates and more fat. So any questions regarding the diet, let me know. I expect you to honestly, mate, really hit this on the nail. I don't want to be seeing you coming in and you fill out your sheet with, let's say you have 450 carb, 20 fat, fucking 250 protein, I'll be like, bro, what the fuck have you done? You know what I mean? So I don't want to be seeing that. I want you to hit roughly 5 to 10 grams off these macros will be great, mate. So again, I've given you, obviously don't worry about this because there's no cardio. The only cardio I want you to do is if you can do 10k steps a day, in and around 10k steps, just to keep general health, if you know what I mean. That would be absolutely unreal. But here is a little key points in regards to when to take your supplements, when to space out your meals, sugar-free squash, seasonings, etc. A little bit of information for you. I have to pause that because the phone's ringing. I'll be back in a second, mate. Hi, mate. Sorry about that. Fucking the old home phone rang and I answered it. You know, it's fucking Nan. Fucking typical. But yeah, I think I was going through just like, yeah, the sugar-free seeds. Have a little read through this yourself. And if you have any questions regarding it, then you know to let me know. But yeah, it's just very basic and straightforward. Like you'll find that my spreadsheets, let's be honest, they're not the most prettiest spreadsheets you ever see out there. But at the end of the day, I'm here to get results. I'm not here to have fucking pretty spreadsheets and shit like that. But yeah, any questions regarding this, let me know, mate. And any questions regarding this or anything you need changing, let me know. But you did say whatever. I think you said, what did you say? Whatever you tell me to eat, I'll eat it. So I don't expect to see any changes yet. No, I'm only joking, mate. Let me know if there's any changes you need. Okay, so in regards to the workouts, so I have got you, as we spoke about on the consultation call, upper lower splits, and we have currently 3 rotations of the upper lower splits. So what you would do is obviously you do upper A first, then you do lower A, then you'll take a rest day, then you'll go lower B, upper B, lower B. Then you'll take a rest day. Then you'll go down to C, rotation C. Then you'll rotate to back and then take the rest day. Then rotate back to rotation A. How fucking hard was that for me to say? So this one is a more push-based focused session to begin with. I've given you a little bit of notes. What I want you to do within your first week is I want you to video yourself performing some of the exercises and send them over to me. So it could be any upper body session, any lower body session you want, but I want to see how you're training at the moment because like I always say, it's good me giving you these workouts and stuff like that, these workout plans, but if you're performing them and the execution is like a fucking mess, I'm not doing my job right, so I need to coach you obviously. But yeah, this is a more push-based focused. I've got you the amount of sets you do, the amount of reps. And now again, with rest periods, what I want you to do is obviously a more higher compound movements, so more taxing movements. Let's say you take 120 seconds break, something like that. And a more fluffier, like an ab crunch, might be 60 seconds because obviously it's less taxing compared to, like, let's say a barbell bench press. So at the top here, I want you to fill out what day it was. So let's say you trained on the 27th of the 9th, 18. Your warm-up and mobility, let me know what you did there. The session focus, don't worry about that. That's for clients that program their own training, and pre and post workout, I wouldn't worry about that. Now, how I want you to fill in this sheet is very straightforward. So let's say you're doing 40 kilos on the bench press, you got 6 reps. Let's say here you did 35 kilos and you got 10 reps. And then here you got 30 kilos, again for 10 reps. That's kind of how I want you to fill it. So throughout, let's say dumbbell press, you did 15 kilos for 5 reps. And then you did 12 kilos for 10 reps. This is kind of how I want you to fill it out. And then over the weeks, so when it goes back, let's say to week 6, you can look back and, oh, I've actually increased my bench press by 20 kilos. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how I want you to fill out your sessions. Again, this is more of a back dominant upper body session with kind of push secondary and obviously pulling first. This one is obviously push first, pull second, and then this one is a more push first again with a little bit of more variation in regards to more fluffier movements, I like to call it, like reverse machine flyers and stuff like that. So again, go through this, mate. It's pretty straightforward. That there is meant to be 10 to 15 reps. So you're meant to do 10 to 15 reps on that, but it always comes up, oh no, it didn't then. So that's 10 to 15 reps because I don't know why it does that. but that's 10 to 3 reps.